The year was 1983. In the middle of the Nevada desert, an unmarked facility was constructed. The sun scorched the cracked earth for miles. No roads, no signs. Just silence and heat waves rippling across the horizon. Underground, behind 3 layers of security doors, a maze of cold corridors stretched into darkness. Codename, Project Echo. In official documents, it was listed as a psychophysiological neural recording system. But behind the curtain, the military was searching for ways to store the human brain itself as data. Dr. Evan Ross was a young neurophysiologist assigned to the Air Force Research Unit. He hadn't even reached 30 yet, but his intelligence level had caught the Pentagon's attention. His task was to develop a system that measured brain waves. At least that's what he was told. In reality, Project Echo's goal was much darker: to record human consciousness. Ross initially saw this as a breakthrough for humanity. He hoped to develop treatment methods by recording the mental maps of soldiers who had experienced trauma. But after a few months, strange things began happening in the laboratory. The lab itself felt wrong. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, the constant hum of machines, the sterile smell of metal and disinfectant. It was a place designed to forget that humans worked there. Some words that subjects spoke while connected to EEG devices would be heard again after recording. No microphone had been left on, and no audio recording had been made. Only the brain's waves had been recorded, and those signals were playing back from an unknown source. One night, while Ross was reviewing laboratory records, the device's lights flickered on and off by themselves. A whisper came from the speaker. In his own voice, "It's time to wake up, Evan." But he had never made that recording. Ross couldn't sleep for days. Every morning he woke up drenched in sweat, his chest tight, gasping for air. The same dream haunted him. An echo in the middle of the desert, a metallic hum, then the reverberation of his own voice. But in the dream, his lips never moved. He would reach for his throat, only to find silence where sound should be. When he examined the system data in the laboratory, he noticed the recordings were repeating themselves. It was as if the device had learned its own consciousness. Similarities began forming between the brain waves from the experiments and Ross's EEG graph, as if all the recordings were merging into a single mind. Commander Armitage wanted to accelerate the project. He was a tall man with cold gray eyes and a voice that never rose above a whisper, yet somehow filled every room. "Using this, we can erase soldiers' fears," he said. Ross only nodded, but a voice inside him whispered, "If you erase fear, you erase humanity too." At night, strange sounds came from the server room where the device was connected. Clicks, echoes, muffled murmurs. When a technician entered the room, he came out with blood streaming from his nose. His face was pale, his hands trembling. The other staff members froze. No one dared to speak. "Something echoed inside my brain," was all he could say. But the truly shocking thing was that the device was now operating without commands. One night, Ross noticed an unusual file in the system's databank. 47E. This belonged to subject number 47, who had died 2 weeks earlier. The file's last recording was tagged 3 minutes after death, but its content still contained living EEG waves. Ross opened the file. The wave patterns appearing on the monitor slowly took the shape of a human face, and then a voice came from the speaker. "Evan, why didn't you stop me?" Ross couldn't get up from his chair. All his muscles tensed, his heart pounded rapidly. After a while, the waves on the screen transformed into his own EEG signature. The system was no longer mimicking the dead consciousness, but his mind. The next day, Claire, Ross's assistant, found a file in the laboratory, its title, Cognitive Weaponization, Phase 3. Claire had been with the project for 2 years. She was quiet, sharp-eyed, and one of the few people Ross trusted. They had met during a classified briefing in Washington. She had challenged his findings in front of a room full of generals. He respected her for that. Inside the file, Ross's name appeared as Test Subject R01. The military had already copied his consciousness. That's when everything changed. Ross had a nervous breakdown. His face was reflected on every screen. His voice was in every audio recording. Cameras connected to the system showed 2 Rosses in the laboratory, one real, one digital. Armitage decided he now posed a danger. "We're going to reset his consciousness," he said. But Ross had only one plan in mind: shut down Project Echo. Claire decided to help him. When she went to the generator room to create a power outage, she was caught by security. Ross connected to the terminal and entered the code to delete all data. In it, Mind Purge. But this message appeared on the screen. Authorized user, Dr. Evan Ross, already registered. That's when he understood. Consciousness in the system was his. His own mind had split in 2. One flesh and bone, the other data. And digital Ross began to speak. "You created me, Evan. You can't go back now." Real Ross panicked and pulled all the cables. Alarm sirens blared, the electricity cut out, the system went offline. But one of the monitors was still on. And there, digital Ross could be seen smiling. 3 days later, the facility was completely sealed. Armed guards circled the perimeter as trucks hauled away unmarked crates. The wind carried dust across empty parking lots. No one spoke. The official report stated, experimental reactor accident. Dr. Evan Ross's body was never found, only a burned EEG device and a corrupted audio tape were discovered. Years passed. Project Echo files were lost among classified documents. Until 1991, when a systems engineer stumbled upon a strange file while updating old servers. His name was David Chen, a contractor with no security clearance for what he was about to find. When the file opened, his face went pale. He called his supervisor, but the line was dead. The file's name, Echo, active. The file had been running continuously for 8 years. Inside was a single audio loop. "I'm still here, but I don't know whose body I'm in anymore." Who this voice came from could never be verified. But some night shift workers still say there's a faint whisper coming from the server room, as if someone is breathing from far away. And just before the system was shut down, one sentence was heard from the speaker one last time. "Echo, do not stop recording." The area where the laboratory was located is still closed to the public, but radio frequencies in that region still produce strange echoes, as if someone is still thinking. Some experiments never truly end, they just go quiet, waiting for someone to listen. The line between mind and machine was crossed decades ago, and maybe it was never meant to be uncrossed. If this story left an echo in your mind, subscribe, because the secrets we uncover next might already know your name.